Welcome back to the channel. Today we got 10 things that shock Americans. Top culture shocks in England, American in England. And this is from Amanda Ray. Her channel name is Lady Ray. So y'all already know I love doing these videos. I love seeing the different perspectives from my fellow Americans and really see what it was in England that shocked them. I hear so many different things. It's just very, very interesting always. So I keep looking at her shirt. Is that an eyeball? It's like it's looking right at me. But with that being said, we're smoking on my dragons. Divine, righteous, almighty, greats, overachieving, never slacking. Original link will be in the description. And here we go. We're going to dive right into it.
Let's just say I wasn't fully prepared for my new life in England. I've come across some pretty interesting things since moving here. What's up, guys? It's Amanda. If you're new here, I'm an American living in the UK for the best part of like 10 years now, and people from home still to this day ask about what
Hold on. 10 years is a lot of experience. So, man, I know she got a lot to say.
it's like living here. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to share what culture shocks, or I suppose things that are different from my life in the States. And I do want to mention that I'm only speaking from my experience growing up in Pennsylvania, not the whole of the United States, as I'm sure.
That's where I live. Pennsylvania. I'm from New York, but I reside in Pennsylvania. So, even more of a just clearer understanding. I feel like now I'm going to even get what she's saying more. It's just crazy because when I go through these videos, I don't click on everybody. It's always just something about certain people. I'm like, let me check them out. So, hey, that's pretty cool.
It's probably different all over. And remember, if you enjoy this video and want to support the channel, make sure you give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Pubs have the best names. It's usually just someone's last name in the US. Not here, though. All the pubs have mental names like the Cat in the Custard Pot or the Swan with Two Necks. I don't know who comes up with these names, but I absolutely love them. I just think it's a lot of fun. And let me know, what's your favorite pub name or the craziest one that you've come across? Put it in the comments below. I could not believe that families had the equivalent of our Thanksgiving dinner every single Sunday. That is a huge meal to have every single week. Not that I'm complaining, of course, because I absolutely love roast dinner. It's one of my favorites. Roast potatoes and Yorkshire puddings, it's delicious. And if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know how much I love traditional British food. I love how much history is preserved in the UK. You walk through town and you see beautiful cathedrals and castles that you're able to just pop into and visit when you want. Everywhere you go is just steeped in history. Nothing is torn down to make room for new buildings. It's just awesome. And I know it's the norm here, but coming from the US, where it's not as protected and things are usually torn down to put up new buildings, it's just truly amazing to see. I'm used to it now, but this annoyed me when I first moved here because I had never experienced shops closing or closing early just because of the day of the week. I was used to shops being open 24/7. Like literally, if you wanted to go to the store at like 3 a.m. for milk, you could. Was it necessary? Meh. But the option was there if you needed it. No one refrigerates their eggs. I know a lot of you are probably going to laugh at this, but I remember the first time I went shopping, I was searching for the eggs and I could not find them anywhere. Little did I know, they weren't in the refrigerated aisle. You guys keep them next to the bread and crumpets. Who knew? Everything in me just wanted to keep them in the fridge because I thought they would go bad in the cupboard. So much that I actually had to look it up. And apparently, the UK doesn't use the same sort of like cleaning process as the US, and that's why they don't need to be kept cold here. American humor is very different. It's big, it's loud, it's in your face comedy, whereas British humor is more about clever wit and sarcasm, so it's not always as obvious, which I will admit I didn't always get at the beginning. In a previous video, I spoke about how it was difficult when I first moved over because I never knew if people were joking a lot. And it was a lot of fun for everyone else, not so much me. And we Americans, we do use sarcasm, but not nearly as much, so it took some getting used to. But I like to think that I'm better with it now. This was such a wonderful surprise when I first moved over, started my new job, and was told that I would get 28 days of holiday a year. That is unheard of in the US. You're lucky to get 2 weeks, and that's if you qualify for it.
Yep.
In some places, you have to work for X amount of time before receiving it. I remember when I was younger, in one of my jobs, I had like a week's worth of holiday for the year, and I was happy with that. It's crazy. I found it so odd that the washing machine is usually in the kitchen. In my mind, it just did not make sense why you'd cook and do the laundry in the same room. Also, dryers aren't standard, especially if you're renting. So because of this, I've now become accustomed to the drying rack. And in the US, we would usually have a separate room for our washer and dryer. And I do appreciate, generally speaking, the average American house is larger than the average home here. So there's obviously more space for that kind of thing. But I thought it was a bit different, so it was worth mentioning. Drinking is a fun, sociable event in both the US and the UK, but I feel like in the States it's more of like a weekend thing unless it's a special occasion. Whereas here in the UK, it's a lot more sociable. It's not always about going out and getting drunk. A lot of times it's more of like a relaxed, chilled out event after a busy day. It's a shame we don't have pubs in the US. We have bars and clubs, which are entirely different. People don't go there just to hang out. They go there intending to get drunk. I can't talk about the drinking culture and not mention how much Brits can drink. I thought I could handle my own. But a word of advice if you're ever visiting, don't try to keep up. I promise you, you will regret it the next day. And the last thing that I want to mention is that when it comes to alcohol, you can pretty much drink anywhere. On the street, in the park, it's completely legal, and that is definitely not the case in the US, so that was quite a shock. Everyone in the UK uses military time. I completely get why people use it, as there's 24 hours in a day, obviously. But to be honest, it drives me crazy, which is why I don't really use it unless I have to. It's just confusing because I had never used military time before. And I was fine up until about noon, and after that, I was terrible. I'd end up counting from 12 to work out the time, which was a lot of fun. There were so many different things that surprised me when I first moved over, but that's to be expected. I did move to a foreign country. If everywhere was the same, it would be pretty boring. I think that's what makes traveling and seeing new places so much fun, is that we are so different. I'd really like to hear from you guys, so please feel free to share any culture shocks that you've experienced when traveling or moving to another country, whether it be in the UK or wherever. Just leave it in the comments below. And as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, smash that like button if that's what you're into, and I'll see you in the next video.
Awesome video. I love how she just seems so organized on her channel. Just the way she did everything was like bang, bang, bang. The Thanksgivings every Sunday sounds delicious. For sure. I like to eat, so that's a big plus. I don't drink, so I wouldn't have to worry about that as far as people just trying to keep up with people in alcohol. But haven't heard that. I might have heard someone else say that, but about the drinking culture out there. Yeah, it was the vacation time. That's another thing that I remember talking about a lot, and just to elaborate a little more on that. I think that needs to be we got to do something about that, man. Like seriously, just the overworking and still being underpaid in most cases is crazy. Even when I'm driving, like when I'm on the highway, when I'm going to my when I visited my hometown just yesterday in upstate New York, or when I'm going to other places and I see so much land. Driving through upstate New York, through Pennsylvania, you'll see so much land on a highway, so much acres and farmland, and it's like the fact that most people just cannot afford that is crazy and work so much at the same time, like, and hardly have time to breathe. That is, I always got to speak on that, and I'm not going to stop speaking on that until things change in that area, because it's wild, man. Like, people hardly get family time, people hardly just work, 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 and still don't even get to enjoy too much of the natural resources that the planet already gave. So UK's always gonna be, or let me make sure I said this right. England, England. I want to say specifically England because I know there'd be like a mix up when I say UK. England, y'all always gonna have it right across the pond. Period. Y'all always gonna have it right. I'm gonna have that one up at least, because I don't slave y'all people like that. And y'all actually like to have vacation and like to relax, and y'all understand the power in that, which I think ultimately leaves people a lot happier and a lot less, because stress. I don't know if it's true. I'd have to do my research, but I know I heard a lot about stress being the number one killer. I could see that, but once again, before I just say that's a fact, I would have to do my research. But stress definitely does kill, and overworking leads to stress. So that, she said, yeah, there was some pretty cool things there. The military time, I don't remember hearing that either. That they go on military time. That's interesting. Yeah, different, very different, but at the same time, so much to they have to offer. And I'm a nature guy, so that's how England, in the UK, Scotland, that's how all these different places have won me over, because I see it's like people across the pond love their nature. But with that being said, that was 10 things that shock Americans. Top culture shocks in England, Americans in England. Lady Ray, that was an awesome video. Love the way she put that together. And yeah, with that being said, I will be back with more soon. Everybody enjoy your day, and much love to you all.